All right. Well, how are you, everybody? How are you doing on this Saturday? It's the 19th day of May, 2018. Welcome to another edition of Marilyn's Cafe Society show on YouTube. So glad to have you on board. Hope you're having a great day. Hope your week was even better. Hey, did you check out the royal wedding this morning? Early this morning. I tell you, I was up late into the night in the wee hours of the morning, so I missed it, unfortunately, but I did get a chance to catch some of the footage, from the various news organizations who've been covering it. And I'm telling you, it looked so amazing. You thought you saw something when Charles and Diana married, and then of course with Kate and William, but this one, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry tying the knot. Her, of course, making history, becoming the first African-American princess over there, and divorcee, of course, a little older, but things change. It takes time, but things change, and though it was still very royal, we see that some of the older beliefs are slowly kind of dissipating. So we wish them the best. A beautiful bride, handsome groom, and again, just a lot of the African American culture was kind of a part of the ceremony. So they kept a lot of the tradition, the royal traditions, but also incorporated some of the African American tradition. And I love it. So again, we wish them the best, and certainly a happy ever after. All right, so we do have a great show planned for you. Later in the show, I have a wonderful guest who's going to be stopping by to talk with me about all kinds of things, but particularly her recent book that was released. And so we'll talk about that and so much more. Can't wait to speak with her. In the between time, let's carry on, shall we? All right. So taking a quick look at in this day in history, in 1962, Marilyn Monroe, of course, did that first rendition of, there we go. Let's get rid of that call. Let's start over. In 1962, on this day in history, Marilyn Monroe performed her rendition of Happy Birthday for then President John F. Kennedy. It was his 45th birthday, and remember, we've seen the clips. For those of us who weren't quite born yet, we've seen the clips of that happening. But it certainly, in the terms that we use today, became viral. And in 1991, on this day in history, Willie T. Ribbs became the first African-American driver to make the Indianapolis 500. And even to this day, he is considered a NASCAR success, a driver in NASCAR who has been quite successful. So good for him in that. And speaking of success, that's part of our Cafe Talk question for today. And it is, do you think or believe that someone can become a success without having a mentor? We know how important it is to have a mentor in business and life. So can a person reach a level of success? Do you think or believe that a person can reach success without having a mentor? That's coming up a bit later on in the show. So I'm just kind of prepping you to be ready to chime in. It has been posted on Marilyn's Cafe Society on Facebook, as well as Marilyn's Cafe Social on Twitter. And I think that's about it. We'll open up the phone lines a bit later on for you to chime in on that question as well. All right. So this, of course, kind of left my spirits low this week, starting on Tuesday. Another senseless shooting happened in the local community here. In fact, it was just a block away from my house. It happened on Tuesday. 24-year-old was shot and killed. Donald Woods Jr. is his name. And of course, family here in the Joliet-Will County community is a well-known family. And, it's just tough to see and hear about these things happening, especially when it's so close to you. And so we, again, send our condolences out to the family of that young man who lost his life. Police are still investigating to determine what happened in that shooting. And then, of course, the next day, Wednesday, we heard of another school shooting that took place. This one happened in Dixon, Illinois. A 19-year-old individual, Matthew Milby is his name, showed up for the senior class graduation practice with a semi-automatic rifle and fired several shots into the school building. No one, fortunately, was injured, but Milby was taken down by a resource officer at the Dixon High School there after an exchange of gunfire. He made a court appearance on Friday on charges of aggravated discharge of a firearm, and he entered a not guilty plea. His next court date is May 23rd, and he's currently being held in the Lee County Jail under a $2 million bond. Now, for those who are in the local area, we've heard his mom speak out on this situation, and we did learn that the gun belonged to her. So, I'll just leave that right there. Now, the second high school shooting that took place sadly left 10 people dead and another 10 or so injured. It happened just 35 miles outside of Houston, southeast of Houston, Texas, and Santa Fe, Illinois, at the Santa Fe High School. This was Friday morning. A 17-year-old student by the name of Demetrios Pagortzits has confessed to the deadly shooting, and the weapon that he used in this shooting was a sawed-off shotgun. It, of course, left students and those living in that area speechless. But in a statement with the Galveston County Sheriff investigator, he said that he didn't shoot certain students because he liked them and he wanted his story to be told. I guess he apparently had initially planned to commit suicide after the shooting, but that didn't happen. And it was a planned shooting, according to authorities, although they say that there really weren't any obvious indications to others that he was planning this. Now, there are some reports that they did find some explosives at his home as well. He's currently being held without bond on charges of capital murder and aggravated assault on a public servant. And so here we are again facing some of, the same issues. When will it stop? It doesn't seem to be decreasing. It seems to be increasing despite all of the work and efforts that many are, implementing and trying to make happen. I just say this. I said it before, and I still believe that we just, we have to focus first and foremost on making all the public schools, all schools actually, safer. And, again, in the urban areas, metal detectors is a common everyday part of life. And we just have to make that happen, I believe, in all schools, suburban, affluent areas. It doesn't matter. All the schools should have metal detectors, unfortunately, and at least depending on the size of the school, at least one or two resource officers who are assigned to the buildings. I think that we also, again, need to connect with other countries who aren't having this problem and find out why, what's different about them. What are they doing to prevent these kind of things from happening in their society? And, do it, tweak it, implement it to make it work here in the United States of America. I also believe that we need to kind of dig deeper, and look at some of the institutions that we have here in the country, starting with our educational system. I believe that, we need to revamp the public educational system, especially make it better, folks don't want to talk about it, but we do live in a tiered society here in the United States when it comes to education. Some areas the students are have all the resources that they need to get a good education, and others do not. And somehow we have to find a balance to make a good education available to all of the United States citizens here, so that everybody can have a equal chance at securing not just a job, but a job that offers livable wages at the very least, and or gainful employment. Because when people are happy, right, they're able to keep a place to live and feed themselves and their families and enjoy life to a certain degree. They just don't think about harming others. They're too busy living and enjoying life. We see that in the affluent communities. The crime numbers are very low in those areas, but in those areas that are socially and economically and politically depressed or oppressed, that is not happening. So we have to find a balance. First of all, in the educational system, I say introduce, and some school systems are doing this, and probably some of the school systems where these acts of violence took place are doing it, but push the strong character education curriculum. K through 12, these students should be getting this every year that they're in the school system. Learning the 6 pillars of character. I had to go back and research and get all of them. Some of them I remembered, but being a trustworthy person, trustworthiness, respect for themselves, their families, the other human beings, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. And I think when it gets in, you have to repeat, education for the most part is repetitive. In order for it to sink in, you have to hear it over and over and over again, right? And so if they're hearing this K through 12 and it's being reinforced at home, and in the community at large, we'll have a different outcome, I believe, in this society. And then, of course, I talked about it, but, preparing folks in this country better for jobs and having jobs out there that, folks can apply for and get. So a stronger job creation process, and even some small business development programs, because everybody's not cut out to be an employee. Some people want to be their own boss and run their own business, and, others are fortunate enough to turn those small businesses into major corporations where they can employ and hire other people, hopefully, again, at livable wages, if not gainful employment. And again, the whole point is when people are happy and content and all their needs are being met, you see, the levels of crime drop. So let's try to do that here in this country. And last but not least, let's talk about love. I say it all the time here on the show. That's been my tagline as long as I've had the show. Live, laugh, love. Love, agape love, brotherly love. When you put love in the picture, there's just certain things that you can't do to other human beings because of that God-like love, right? If we practice it, demonstrate it, talk about it, and show it to the young people and each other, we will see the society change. Now, am I a dreamer? Probably, probably, some folks are probably shaking their head right now. Good luck with that, Marilyn. That'll never happen. But, I honestly think we won't get rid of all the social ills that we suffer here in the United States. But I think that we would get closer to reducing a lot of this violent activity that is happening, especially among the young people. But the big question that we should ask also of these perpetrators is, what happened to them in their life? What happened? How did they get to that place where they could do something to harm other human beings like that? What happened to them? Who failed to show them love? Now, I know in one of the stories, I don't know which one, I don't know if it was the one here in Illinois or the shooting in Illinois or the one that happened in Texas, but I think the whole topic of bullying popped up as well. And so here we are again, going back to those 6 pillars of character and the whole notion of learning to love yourself, your families, the community at large, and of course, the human race at large. So that's all I have to say for now. Hopefully someone's listening and we can at least get started with some of those ideas, if no one else has presented them already. All right, let's shift gears and take a look at business news. Well, Walmart has been in the news. They are set to start their food delivery service in the Chicago area as early as next Tuesday. They already offer online ordering and pickup service at 28 of their Chicago area stores. And of course, the delivery service that they're going to be starting here will offer same day delivery within an hour. Yeah, so you pick up your phone. Let's just say the NBA playoff season is happening, right? And you do this impromptu, everybody come to my house to watch the game. And you just don't have the time. This is a case where I could see using this. You just don't have the time to get up, run out to the store and get all the things that you need. Well, you can pick up the phone and call Walmart or go online and order all the things that you need, and they will deliver it to you, to your door within an hour. Sounds pretty cool. All right, and it's only going to cost you about $9.95. That's just a flat rate. It doesn't matter what you're ordering, how much your order is, how large your order is. It's just $9.95. Chicago happens to be the 11th metropolitan area to get this new service, and a nationwide effort is currently underway so that it will expand to the suburban areas as well. But listen to this. According to a study that was conducted by the Food Marketing Institute as well as Nielsen, by 2022, what is this, 2018? So that's just 4 years away. By 2022, United States consumers could spend $100 billion a year in online groceries. That just boggles my mind. How is that possible? Everybody, are you really into online shopping? Is it really that hard to get up, put some clothes on, drive out to your local market, grocery store, scurry around the store, rubbing elbows with other human beings, touching, feeling, smelling the food that you're purchasing, and then of course standing in the long lines for checkout? Who doesn't want to do that? I don't enjoy it, but and maybe I don't get out much. Maybe going to the stores is a big outing for me. But anyway, I don't think I could order food online like that, do grocery shopping online and have it delivered to my house. But, first of all, you're missing the opportunity to chat with the people that you're standing in the long lines with, right? Or perhaps you're missing an opportunity to do a random act of kindness and pay the person's bill in front of you, or at least help pay, or vice versa, right? I'm just saying, just something to think about, everybody. All right. And speaking of markets, well, on the stock market, Cisco Systems, J.C. Penney's, Wells Fargo, Jack in the Box had a rough week this past week. They went down in the market while Kroger Company, Dillard's, and Williams Partners saw an increase. So good for them and that. And then quickly, as we move into entertainment news, just a heads up, I've been watching this off and on because of my schedule. I haven't been able to just do like I used to do when I was on the radio, and that's sort of like being on assignment with these shows. But The Voice and American Idol, now Dancing with the Stars. Well, Dancing with the Stars and The Voice are still, in the middle of things, but the American Idol finales will air starting Sunday, that's tomorrow, on ABC, 8 Eastern, 7 Central Time, and then on Monday on ABC, 9 Eastern, 8 Central Time. Now, it's reported that all 3 judges will perform. Yay! Lionel Richie, Luke Bryan, Katy Perry. And then, listen to this, Patti LaBelle is expected to show up to perform, as well as Nick Jonas, Darius Rucker, Yolanda Adams, and more. So you make sure you tune in. Now, the 3 finalists are Gabby Barrett, certainly deserves to be there, Maddie Poppy, and of course, Caleb Lee Hutchison. They're all worthy. The last 7, any of them were worthy to become finalists. So be sure to tune in and see who our new American Idol will be. Now, the finalists will perform on Sunday, and then America is to vote. And then on Monday, after all of the special performances and so forth, the winner will be announced. So just a heads up on that. Also tomorrow, live on NBC, tune in for the Billboard Awards. Yep, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Kelly Clarkson is the host. And Janet Jackson will receive the Billboard Icon Award, and she's going to be performing. I'm going to be tuned in. And if there happens to be an NBA game on during that time, I'll just be channel surfing. All right. So other star-studded performances include John Legend, Ed Sheeran. By the way, I heard, this was an interview that Jamie Foxx did just recently. I heard that he actually discovered Ed Sheeran. Yep. So anyway, John Legend, who, by the way, is a new dad. Congratulations to him. Ed Sheeran, Christina Aguilera, and so many others will be performing. On the Billboard Awards show tomorrow night, 7 Central in my area, and of course 8 Eastern. Okay, so make sure that you tune in, people. All right. Okay, so remember, get ready for Cafe Talk. That's going to be coming up after my talk with my special guest. And again, the big question is, it's always somehow inspired by something I'm going through. But the big question is, do you think a person can reach a certain level of success, or just have success at all, without having a mentor in their life? We're not going to go there yet, but just be ready to chime in when we wrap up the interview. So let's go ahead and get my guest on the phone and start our talk. Okay.
This is Dandretta.
Hey, I am looking for Dandretta D. Strong, educator and author.
This is she. Thank you very much.
How are you, young lady?
I'm good this morning. How about yourself?
I am well. Thank you for asking. I'm so happy that we finally made this happen. It's been in the works for a while.
Absolutely, Marilyn. I'm excited as well. Thank you for having me on.
No problem at all. So I shared with the audience back, I believe, in February, on one of my first YouTube broadcasts, that you were going to be on the show at some point, and that we had connected in the community, sitting on a committee together, and I never knew that you had a book in the works until I attended your book release event. So, how long, Dundretta, were you working on this book?
My gosh, it took me 2.5 years to get it on paper. Of course, I had it way before that time. You just have to make time to get it on paper and get it out in front of people.
Yeah.
It's really, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
No, it's just really exciting to go through the journey of getting it on paper, because sometimes you can get easily distracted as much as you want to get out what you have to say, because so much is flowing, but yet there are those distractions that come in. So I'm just excited I was able to get it done when I did get it done.
Absolutely. And your website is havesomething2say.com, right?
You're correct.
Okay. And so, and the title of the book is I Have Something to Say.
I've got something to say. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And so, I obviously we didn't do in-depth conversation in meetings that we were a part of, but you hail from a small town, Aliceville, Alabama.
Absolutely. Very small town at that. Population of about 2,000 at the time. I was born in that town in 1965. Very rural area, very family-oriented. Grew up on what was called air property. All family, cousins, aunts, uncles, whatever pretty much was a third, second cousin and kindred, we were all there.
Yes.
We had fun. We really came together. We did a lot of family things amongst ourselves. We, shared many meals. We did a lot of hard chores together. We shared a lot of stories, some fictional, some non-fictional. A lot of those stories have shaped my world and helped me become the woman I am today, which is very family-oriented, very focused, but not without trial and error.
Yeah, so when you talk about rural, you really mean rural. I remember those drives down south in the summer when I was little, and there was like nothing, the closest house was, unless you lived in a community like you say, where there was air property. I know my mom grew up that way, but the closest house could be a mile or so away, and there was no indoor plumbing. I mean, you guys really, in that rural small town areas in the South, you really grew up not having much, but not even realizing that you didn't have much.
Absolutely true in saying that. Having been born in 1965 and lived in the South up to age almost 13, a month before my 13th birthday, I experienced everything that you just said. Mm-hmm. Anywhere from sharecropping to growing our own food. I was a part of all of that. Some people outside of the area had an advantage, of which I went to school with, and not always did I feel comfortable, going to classroom where some students were privileged to inside plumbing. Sometimes the bus would come, my clothes would be hanging outside on the line. Unlike some of them, they lived in brick homes where plumbing was there and they didn't have to do the sharecropping. But yet, all of that and a mixture of knowing and experiencing that helped to balance and shape my world. I think the hard work, the intense labor really helped me to understand the entire cultural shock that I was faced with when I transitioned to Chicago at age 13. Oh. Anywhere from the mess, the fresh smelling air in the South, waking up to the birds singing and just hearing all of nature itself, to transitioning to the city life where you woke up to the smell of sewage. What a shock. Cultural shock at that, absolutely. So,
yeah, I'm sure that it was. My family also migrated from the South, but I don't know, I was maybe 4 or 5 years old. So although I realized there was a difference, not being the age that you were when you came, I wasn't just able to really do the comparison and contrasting. I just, all I knew is I was still with my family, but it was certainly a big difference from where we had come from.
I see.
Yeah,
absolutely. Anywhere from the dirt roads and me having to walk be bare feet in the summertime on the hot rock, dirt road was definitely a difference from being in the city. In the city, you couldn't walk like that because you would cut your feet. You would be faced with all types of things that weren't as challenging there. Normal was in the summer there, you didn't wear shoes.
Right.
In the summer, you played, you had your play clothes. You didn't wear certain clothes during the summertime. You had basically a pair of clothes for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you had your Sunday go to church clothes. So everything was so structured, yet challenging, and it's just a whole nother world. It's a whole different world from what I was exposed to just before turning 13, and missing a father figure in early childhood years was not helpful at all, and having to see my mother go through her challenges with the absenteeism of her father in the house, and then having a younger sister there who needed some things that I couldn't give, and maybe even the old sister that was a part as well, she couldn't help in those areas because she had her own struggles. We all had our own individual struggles of which we were trying to find meaning in life. We were trying to find what was next. Sharecropping was starting to dissipate, and I knew even as a child that something else had to happen because the peaches were going to go away, the plums were going to go away, the blackberries, blueberries, all of those things were going to go away because there was no one there to tilt the land. So my mother made a decision to uproot the family to Chicago, and she left my youngest sister and I to spend some time with my oldest sister until we finished the school term, and then she said for us, on a lovely voyage, on the lovely voyage of a Greyhound bus.
Oh, goodness. So
first time ever experiencing that.
Yeah, that's longer than that makes the car, the car ride or drive, I think, was 12 hours. So the bus ride had to be longer.
Well, I believe we were on what we call the express bus.
Okay.
I'm thinking now we were there within 12 to 13 hours because we were able to eat our chicken and still yet be a little hungry, but make it there. we had our fried chicken that was so nice and neat with my oldest sister.
That's a
foil paper.
Right. That's a going south or north staple in the Black community. You got to pack up that fried chicken.
That's right. And I tell you, that cold chicken was good halfway there.
Honey.
I remember my mother telling my sister to make sure they don't eat it. Time to get on the bus. Make sure they wait until they're halfway there. We didn't have a clock, neither did we have a watch. So we figured when we felt like we were halfway there, then it was time to eat, and we did. We ate our cold chicken, and we were satisfied, and we made it to Chicago when we drove into, or the driver drove us into the bus port. I'll never forget the buildings as tall as they were, and just even as we began to enter the city from the rural area, how shocking and transformational that was, even in thinking, wow, buildings this large exist outside of a storybook.
Right.
So it was amazing.
And if my memory serves me correct, I think that the Greyhound bus station back then was at the corner of Randolph and Dearborn or Clark.
Well, I believe we may have been at Canal Street. I'm not quite sure.
Or Canal?
I totally remember Canal Street. I believe
Okay.
that's where we were.
Okay.
We recorded there, and I stepped off. She stepped off. My youngest sister, right on my heel. Wow. Here we go. And we were both scared. My sister, middle sister, next oldest, that is, was just within of a distance of seeing us. She recognized us before we did her, and she called out. She said, "Dawn and Ring." That was back then. It was our nickname.
Okay.
Like, wow, that must be her. Yeah, her hair rough. She's got this good, nice dye in it, and you can see her car parked over a little bit. It's a Ford of some year, and I'm like, sounds good to me. Sounds good. There's a car. It moves, and that sounds like my sister. It's hot out here. Let's go.
And so, talk about the age difference. Your older sister, between yourself and your older sister.
Well, my oldest sister, back in Alabama, there's an actual 28 year difference, and the sister that picked us up from the Greyhound bus station, all of about an 18-year age difference. So, absolutely, there is a lot of like, I'm old enough to be your mother type talk.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That was your second mom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd say all of my older sisters presented themselves as being second moms. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, and so you landed in the big city of Chicago, and in the 70s they were still kind of the Martha Stewart, the rising of Chicago had not happened. So I remember the spring break in Chicago was called Cleanup Week. That was the week. That was the week when the city would send out all the city crews to clean up the streets.
Absolutely, and students had an opportunity to participate in that too. I don't remember exactly what that program was all in detail, but I would see students, and during the time that we came up, I don't believe the city schools were out quite yet, because in the South you get a little bit earlier, by 2 or 3 weeks or so. So we were out before they were out. So it was just kind of awkward not to be in school while others were in school.
Right.
And needless to say, when cleanup week came, cleanup week was. Summer break.
Yes.
Summer break, we always had chores in Alabama. Summer meant let's prepare because cotton is going to be coming up soon. So we always prepped, but yet we had fun. We would have fun chasing we call them lightning bugs. We had fun even up in Chicago. I was like, wow, they still have them here. But my mother said, no, you're not going to go out that time of the night and chase lightning bugs because it's not safe in Chicago to do that. And besides, you're getting too old for that. So going back to coming and really even getting in the car, leading outward from the Greyhound bus station. By now, my youngest sister and I are very hungry because we've been on the bus. We've been on there a while, and now it's time to eat. So my sister said to me, the oldest sister says, "We're going to go to White Castle." And I'm going, wow, right. And I'm saying to myself, my sister's looking at me, I'm looking at her. So we really don't say anything outside of knowing what each other are thinking. As she's looking, she's like, "What's wrong with y'all? Y'all ain't White Castle?" I'm like, "Well, we don't know what that is." She laughed. Everybody in the car laughed. My 2 nephews were there. One was standing on the back seat, no shirt on, and just little, he's small and he's looking. And then the one that's oldest is about 8 or 9, and he's checking us out, saying, "You're our cousins." Yeah, we're your cousins. And then, so my sister's driving, she's looking at her rear view mirror, trying to figure out where the conversations are going to go. Meantime, we finally get to White Castle, and I look, and I go, what in the world? I thought maybe it was just really an actual medieval type palace or so that you go in and you just, I didn't know what to expect, but the smell of those onions and all that other stuff kind of got me excited. But needless to say, after digging into and looking at those, I noticed they didn't look anything like my mother's hamburgers or cheeseburgers, and I was really offended by that.
Okay.
And I didn't know that I was offending her. I said, this just doesn't look like hamburgers or cheeseburgers. It just looks like you better eat that or starve. And I ate that. And I tell you, I couldn't sleep at all that night. What an experience. I'll never forget. I've not eaten White Castle since then. Let's just say that.
That's hilarious. But you know, that was, for some reason, a lot of us, hey, it was all about the White Castle burgers. But I tell you now, I've since learned to appreciate those mama burgers, I call them, the real beef and so forth. But that is funny. That is funny. All right. So the book kind of takes us on your journey to, leaving the small town in rural South, coming to the big city of Chicago, and all the life experiences that happened upon your arrival. And of course, folks can go to havesomethingtosay.com to get the book, to read about some of those experiences that you had along your journey of growing up, and of course, just talking to you about it and knowing what the book is about. I think it's a relatable book that many of us can kind of put ourselves in that space. Obviously, a lot of us who live here in the northern states migrated here with our parents from the South, and some have longer histories in the South than others, but and some aspects there is some relatability there. If you didn't end up in the big city of Chicago, you may have ended up in Detroit, or somewhere like that. But there's some commonalities there. What's the takeaway, Dondretta, that you want folks to get from your book?
I think if I were to do like a full circle takeaway without getting into the complete core of the book, I would add that in this book, you see the small town girl being faced with bullying. You see the small town girl being faced with being transparent. You see the small town girl that yet is very humble, loving, kind. You see the small town girl that is searching yet for a place. And I think that, not only do students have a challenge when it comes to all of the various variances that are in this book, I think adults as well. Things that we admit it or not, all of us can find a place within this book that I've written, a place where we at one time have been, or someone close to us has experienced. And sometimes we've spoken about it, other times we've not. This book was something that was birthed in me years ago. Yet it took 2.5 years for me to get it on paper, on ebook right now. You can go in and, as you first stated, Marilyn, you can download it on your Kindle, or you can download it on whatever book you have that you use as a reader. I'm going to be converting it perhaps within the next few months or so into softback. We're just waiting on that. But don't miss out on reading the full gist of what I'm talking about now. The mentoring piece is mentioned in there as well. And I think, Marilyn, you're going to hit on that a little bit later, but just having someone outside of your family being there for you also helps when you're going through challenges, when you're going through, things in life in general. that you're impacted by and that you don't see forecoming. They knock you off track, you get back on. It's kind of like that train that's going on the track and it's just really choo-chooing away, and all of a sudden it loses momentum and it's knocked off.
Yes.
But the switching can happen, or the switching gear can easily put it back on before it really crashes, if that makes sense. So
yeah.
I'd like to just, put a bookmark at that place and say that.
Okay. Yeah. So havesomethingtosay.com is the website once again to learn a little bit more about Dondretta D. Strong, who's an educator and now author. And I guess the second part of this book is already in the works.
I think I'm losing you there, Marilyn. I can't hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I hear you well.
Okay. Yeah, I was just letting the viewers know, first of all, that I get a message every now and then that there's a poor connection. So hopefully we won't lose connection on YouTube Live. But just, again, referring them to your website, havesomethingtosay.com. Dondretta D. Strong. She's an educator and now author. And you have a second book in the works.
Absolutely. I'm working on memoir number 2, which will bring the audience to get to know what it was like for me to work with my parents, adult parents, as they age gracefully, and then as their health began to deteriorate, and some of the things that deals with deals with having a child that struggles with mental illness. So there's a whole lot to come yet that will roll over from 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3. When it's all over, the full story will be in all 3. So if you miss one, you miss them all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, listen, again, a great read, a very interesting story of forgiveness and just living life as an African American, growing up in the 60s and 70s and into the 80s. And wow, look where you are now. Which brings me to the Cafe Talk question, Dondretta, and that is, do you believe that a person can achieve some sense of a success in life as well as in their profession without having a mentor?
I'd say no. Everyone needs a mentor. I think mentors come to you versus you coming to them. I'm reminded of one of my teachers in the ninth grade or 10th grade or so. She took, and I won't mention her name on air, but she took the time to identify me amongst other students, very few in number. She said, you know what, I see so much potential in you. I want you to be a part of a program. This program will allow you to rub shoulders, and this is me using my own words right now, with white-collar executives downtown Chicago. You'll go in and you will shadow the executives. You will see what they do day to day, how they dress, how they talk, how they perform their meetings, and so on. I want to let you see something you've never seen before, and I want you to come back and tell me how you feel about that. In addition to that, I'm going to teach you how to sell. I'll teach you how to sell through baked goods. I'll teach you how to manage what you're selling. Amazing. Totally amazing. I was so thirsty for that. She came to me.
Okay.
And I said, yes, absolutely. And even when it comes to even outside of the school age years, even in the business world, education, professional world, you have to have mentors to be successful. And you have to mentor others as well. There has to be that complete balance, because what you get, you always pass on.
That's it.
It doesn't grow until you pass it on.
That's it. Yeah. I love that. I love that answer. And yeah, you're blessed and lucky if you have a teacher or had teachers who served as mentors as well in your life. I mean, teachers do what they do, and I guess mentoring to some degree is a part of that. But when they really reach out to you, as you say, this teacher did, then that's lucky, because it did probably shift your life. Well, it did shift. It did shift your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Woo, all right. Well, listen, again, everybody, go to have something, the number 2 say.com, and download this book by Dondretta D. Strong. You may see yourself in it, or just, various aspects of yourself in it. But nevertheless, I think it's a book that teaches you, first of all, how to forgive yourself, and as well as others. And then, if nothing else, I think it also will help some folks who may not have overcome feelings of shame, right?
Absolutely.
Overcome that, because life happens to all of us. Again, some of the things that Dondretta experienced, you may not have experienced, but you may have experienced something else that may have caused some kind of guilt or shame in your life. And so to see how she worked through it and overcame it in this book should be somewhat of a healing process for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And if I may add too, Marilyn, I'm available for speaking engagements. If you'd like to have me come talk to your group, talk to your organization, I am available to do that. Just go online, send me a note. I gladly respond to your request, and we can talk through whatever it is that you want me to talk about or address in my book after you've read it.
Yes.
I gladly discuss in more detail, and I gladly be a part of your group or your meeting to discuss whatever it is that you'd like to talk about. And I've got something to say.
Fantastic, Dondretta. Well, thank you. Of course, we'll be doing this again.
Great. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much, too, Marilyn. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you, listening audience, for tuning in as well to hear what I've had to say.
Yes, and make sure that you let all your friends know, Dondretta, about the show so they can tune in and chime in from time to time.
Most certainly. Thank you, Marilyn.
All right. We'll talk again. Peace. All right, everybody. That again, Dondretta D. Strong. She's an educator and an author of the book, I've Got Something to Say. And again, you can go to have something, the number 2 say.com to order her book and read it, and hopefully learn about the process of forgiveness and redemption, and maybe even it could be a healing process for you as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump to our social media. Of course, she chimed in on the Cafe Talk question, which was about mentorship. Do you think a person can have success in life and or business without having a mentor? Dondretta chimed in, sharing that she certainly believes that a person can't, because the role of the mentor is so important in your life that sometimes you don't know how to navigate through situations or what next steps to take in your life and or your business or work. And that's what a mentor will do. That person will help lead and guide you, and of course share information with you and teach you things that you need to know. So I'm going to jump to the Facebook just to see if anyone chimed in there. And of course, the phone lines are now open if you want to call to chime in on your ideas about whether or not a person can have success without having a mentor. 815-593-1695. That's 815-593-1695. You can text and or call that number to chime in. So let's just go quickly to to Facebook and see what we have here. And just my response would be in that regard to the question. I actually think that I believe that a person probably can experience a level of success in their life without a mentor. But I think in order for you to grow into the level of success that our Heavenly Father has for you, He will send a mentor to you to show you how to get there. In the mean between time, you can just pray that God hurries up and do that. But in the same vein as Dondretta was saying, while you're waiting for your mentor to show up, or the mentor could already be there and you just need to open up your mind to see it, be a mentor to someone else, because a lot of times, no matter what your social position is in life or your work experience is or profession, you know something that someone else doesn't know. You're a step or two ahead of someone else who may be curious or interested in and achieving what you already have. So you can always mentor someone. I was going to say younger, but that person doesn't necessarily have to be younger. But there's always opportunity for you as well to be a mentor. So that's my take on the question. Do you think a person can have success without a mentor? I believe that a person can have success, but not the level of success that maybe God intended for them to have. Because your gifts, your talents, your skills, your ability will get you in certain places, will take you to certain places. But it will take a mentor to help you go to that place that our Heavenly Father wants you to reach in terms of the word success, right? All right. So, as always, I'm going to stop posting this on social media because you guys just don't respond. I don't take it personal either. I know who I am. All right. So, that's it. As I wrap up the show, you still have a minute or two to call 815-593-1695 to chime in or text your response. Okay. So that's it. Yeah. I think that's it, everybody. So we'll, let's see, next Saturday, we'll be on June 2nd, that first Saturday in June. We will not be on. And so far that's it. So make sure that you mark your calendars for that. All right. So before I go, let me tell you what love is. Now, I ran out to grab the paper. This is where I get the love is from. And I beat today's delivery. Didn't even look at the date on the paper, got home and it was yesterday. So here's what love is on yesterday. Love is when she returns with interest. When she returns with interest. Okay. And of course, I got to tell you what I always do. And that is, if you don't do anything else this week, be sure that you live, you laugh, and you love. As always, it's been a pleasure and a privilege. Find me on Twitter, Marilyn's Cafe Soch, and follow. Find me on Facebook, Marilyn's Cafe Society, and become my friend or like. And of course, you can find me here on this YouTube channel. and like and subscribe and let everybody know about the live show that happens every Saturday right here on YouTube. All right, everybody. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. We'll do it again next Saturday right here on YouTube. Peace.